All right, guys, we're about to jump into the course. And before we do, though, I want to share a disclaimer. While this is an educational course meant to kind of lay out a roadmap, a blueprint that which I've taken, everything that's presented in this course are steps that I took, and I'm using my experience. And based off that, we created this foundational course for you guys to learn from. But it is in no way meant to be financial or legal advice. I'm not an accountant or a financial professional. I'm not an attorney. So you will want to discuss any investment and any matters that pertain to those areas within real estate investing with those people. You definitely want those qualified professionals that are experienced in real estate transactions to and working with investors to be on your team and help you. And we'll be talking about that. But what this is meant to be is it's for educational purposes to help you have a foundation to learn residential multifamily investing through my experience. So with that said, we're going to begin. Share my screen here. And so you want to first understand that with multifamily investing, there are different ways to find deals. And obviously, our first module here will be dealing with just that. One of the ways when I first started was Bandit Signs. You've probably seen Bandit Signs where they're usually on intersections and so forth, or on the lawn, on the area near entrance and exits off highways. That's how I did it. And I bought maybe about 100 Bandit Signs, a couple of dollars, just that yellow material. You can get them blank or you can get them printed out. I was working on a budget, so I did them. I got the blank yellow signs, got a thick marker and wrote them out. Got a Google Voice number to put them on there. Now, obviously, I was working in New York City. I was doing these in New York City, and what I was doing was finding zip codes in the outer boroughs, Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, that had where there was a lot of investment activity, and we'll be talking about how I got that, the sites that I used to help me with that. And then I took those zip codes and I targeted those zip codes, and I went out on a Friday night. I put up my Bandit Signs. Obviously, with code enforcement, you want to be aware of that in your city, town. With code enforcement, they have a lot of times Bandit Signs are strictly prohibited. And so you want to be mindful of that. So what I did was I went on a Friday night, I put them up. Hey, we buy houses, this and that, but have my Google Voice number on there, not my actual number, because in case they call, I don't want it to be traced back to me. And so, and then I left them up for about 2 days, and I took them down Sunday evening because I didn't want code enforcement to see them on Monday and call me or pull them down. And so I did that. I did that a couple of times. It was just me working by myself, so I couldn't really scale it. It was a little bit difficult in that respect, but we did the best we could, did the best I could with that. I got a couple calls, but I think Bandit Signs, especially in New York City, it may be challenging because there's so much going on. There's so many signs, so many distractions, so many things. I think maybe Bandit Signs may work in a smaller environment, a smaller town, but that's just me. But I did that. I did it. So I just wanted to share that experience. Driving for dollars is another way that you can do it. This building here is in North Jersey, and I was now this is like a 20-unit building that you're looking at here in this picture. I took this picture. This course is going to have a lot of images that I took or had taken of me because I hate stock photography. I like when, if possible, as much as possible, to use photos that I've taken. And so, ironically, as I've been going through my investment journey, a lot of times I've taken photos just to chronicle, just to document the process. And now here it is, lo and behold, when I started in 2015, 2016, first property in 2019, this whole time I would just take photos, to kind of document the process. And now here, I'm using them. But driving for dollars is a great way where you can drive or walk an area and see properties in distress. What does that mean in distress? Properties that may need some help, that may need some TLC. Maybe it's unkept. Maybe there's a tarp on the roof. Maybe the mailbox is overflowing with mail. Could be that there's no one there. Maybe the lawn needs to be landscaped, and needs to be cut down, so forth. So I was actually on the day that I was looking at this, just checking out this building, because I was just being my ambitious self and just trying to look into this deal. This was back in 2019, this picture that you're seeing, and before I got my first deal. And I was actually driving a little smart car. That's the car that you see there in front of it. And but while I was driving around the area, I was also looking and taking down addresses of properties that may need some help, may need some work. And so what you can then do is, once you've taken down the address, take some pictures, so forth. Maybe you have a letter made out to the owner. Maybe you leave it in the mailbox. I've done that. Or there are apps that you can use, like Deal Machine. I've used Deal Machine, which is specifically for when you drive for dollars, and you scan it, it pulls up information on the property as you're there in front of it. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. So I tried it, and then I would and with some of the sites that I'll share with you later, you can look up these properties, look up how to contact the owner, and go from there and take the next steps. So driving for dollars is another way to do it. And there are many ways to source or find deals. Here, we were just talking about, these are now, and just so you're aware, these sites that I'm showing to you, I'm not an affiliate of. I have no affiliation with them, but I've used them and they're helpful in their own regard. PropStream is a great site to look up properties and pull lists, whether it's a single family home, a multifamily home, an apartment building. So, and it's nationwide. It's a great, and you can sign up and get a 14-day trial with them. ListSource is another. It can be a little pricey. ListSource, you can pull up a list. And I remember in the beginning, I said I was talking about the Bandit Signs. I went to ListSource and I got kind of in New York City a breakdown of just a free breakdown of zip codes in the outer boroughs that had a lot of investment activity. So that's how I knew, based on that information, I was going to go and put up my signs in those areas. Why? Because there's already a lot of real estate investment activity there. So chances are I'm casting a wide net in an area that's hot for investment. So ListSource, you can go and pick up a list, and then they have different categories like absentee owner, meaning the owner does not live on the site at the property site. You can do pre-foreclosure, you can do high equity, you can do, you can alter it based on the number of years that they've owned the property. ListSource can be a little pricey. It can, so be aware of that. They'll send you the list of the property address with the owner, so forth. From there, you can do what's called skip tracing. Skip tracing is, and that's the third site, batch skip tracing, comes in again. And there are many other sites. I'm just giving you three right here that I'm familiar with. And with batch skip tracing, you can take, let's say you get a list from ListSource or from PropStream, you download that list, you send it to batch skip tracing, and then they'll reverse look it up and provide and get you the contact info, hopefully the phone numbers for those owners, or if it's in an LLC, if there's a number for it, they'll provide that on those records. So if you have a list of 100 properties, I mean, that's 100 different owners, then that'll be 100 records that they'll look up, and batch skip tracing will get you the phone numbers if they're available, if they're on there. And then you can go about marketing to them, calling them, and I've done that where I call them. I have a script that I would use. So again, there are many ways to source deals. Okay. Another way, and this is the preferred way for me, this is what's worked best for me. This is how I got my first deal. Anytime you hear me talk about my deal or first deal, I'm talking about that first rental deal that I got in Paterson, New Jersey in 2019. And this picture that you're seeing here, this was March of 2019. It was a big real estate seminar down in South Jersey. And I went there and I made connections with people before and during this time. And it kind of jump started me. It gave me specialized knowledge, which I'm now going to share with you, along with all the other all the other insights that I shared going through this process. But this seminar was very important to me. Uh, and so there's a few, because it took me from A to Z, so to speak, in the span of a day, so that I can get a clear understanding of how I need to do this. And networking is a big part of this process, because if I hadn't networked, if I hadn't reached out and contacted people, maybe I don't find out about this and I don't get that knowledge. So networking could be meetups. Every city, town, or area, for the most part, in the United States, has real estate meetups. You need to find them and attend them. They might be right in your backyard. They may be a town or two over. It's very important to get out to them, because you not only learn, but you build connections. You build connections. And actually, a big investor that was leading this seminar, this picture that you're looking at, I found out about him through another investor that I met at a local meetup in North Jersey. Now, I live in New York City, but I set my target on North Jersey just because of the price points. And we'll talk a little bit about that in the next lesson in terms of choosing your markets. So it led me to North Jersey. I was in this real estate meetup. I found out about this other opportunity, and I started just, you know, connecting the dots and following the clues and the tips, and it led me here. And then this seminar was where I made a lot of big contacts, a lot of key, and I gathered a lot of key team members that would help me to pull off my first deal. So meetups, seminars, you could have online also, online meetups. Obviously, during the pandemic, there was a lot of that. But you also just have a lot of groups that are regional, national, and they'll meet regularly via a Facebook group, a Facebook Live, Zoom, so forth. So there are many ways to get this done. There are many ways to be able to source deals. And so it was through this meetup, through this seminar, that I had built a connection with a realtor, an investor-friendly realtor, and that's how I sourced my first multifamily deal. And it could be a wholesaler, which they specialize in sourcing properties, getting properties at a discount, where they would assign the contract, or instead of them buying it, they would assign the contract to the buyer that would then take the property and purchase it. Or you could go with an investor-friendly realtor, as I did, a broker, or you could also use a combination, or one of the previous methods that I just spoke about. So there are many ways to source deals. Now, on this next one, I got ahead of myself here. We're going to talk about choosing your markets. But I hope that this is helpful in terms of understanding how to different ways that you can find deals. That's very important. On the next one, we'll get into this next step in terms of choosing your markets. All right. So I'll see you on the next one.